Welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz Love Talk. So there's a couple of things I've been paying attention to in the news that is just hilarious to me. First of all, I've been paying attention to I guess this whole issue of fast clothing, clothes that are made fast and cheaply, but stylishly, whatever. Like a Shein and a couple of these little sites. I think Zara is one of them too. But Zara is a legit store. And Shein, apparently these places are having these clothes made quickly by slave labor, honest to God, slave labor in China and wherever else in the world, where they got people making these clothes cheaply, fast, and with no regard to the environment and a great deal of waste, a lot of waste. And these clothes are not designed to last you a lifetime. They're only designed to last you like one or two washings. So this has been so problematic that that Shein, according to NPR, and if you pay attention, Shein violated the RICO Act by stealing people's designs, a lawsuit says. So I don't know if you're on Facebook and if you see all these like too good to be true dresses, they're fabulous, but they are designs of real designer people who make these dresses for way more than $23. So Shein is caught up in some case. So it's a lawsuit filed in California federal court that the designers allege that Shein produced and sold exact copies of their designs, and that they claim Shein uses secretive algorithms to determine fashion trends, and algorithms they allege could not work without generating exact copies of artists' work. Now, I've been paying attention to this because there's some designers that I follow on some of these sites that seem like they are reputable sites. X Plus, Shein, it's a whole bunch of them that are making these cheap clothes, knockoffs of real stuff. And there's this movement underfoot to get people to stop shopping at these. Is Shein, Timo, it's a bunch of little places that are doing this. And you see them. I mean, the websites looks really good. They look compelling. The clothes are gorgeous. It's, who doesn't want something for, $20? Who doesn't want a ball gown for $20? Like, and I've watched the folks who are designing these things talk about how their designs are being stolen and sold for pennies, and I don't know how you get people, Harry and I talk about this all the time. People want cheap TVs. They're not gonna, once you buy a 62-inch TV for $75, you're not gonna ever go back and pay $200 for it. I mean, you're just not. And I think, we're depending on people to use their better judgment when they are shopping, but we live in a very fashion conscious world, and people want nice things for not a lot of money. And so I'm getting a whole education on fast clothing. Because I don't know what, is that Rainbow 2? Is that Forever 21? Is it, what is fast clothing? And do I need to every time I see a site, I have to check. And I'm telling you, that's what every time I see a site where I see some clothes and I like it, I go, Oh, let me go check. Let me check the reviews if this is, you know. So here's I found something from April 2022 on Good on You about what is fast fashion and why is it so bad? And then I'm gonna give you the list of brands to avoid. And this is all from 2022. So this has been going on. And then there's, I'm gonna read the one from Ethical Consumer because this is April 2023. So fast fashion. I don't accept any of that. So this is written April 12th by Alex Crumby. And what is fast fashion and why? Why is it a problem? Fashion shouldn't cost the earth. I agree. So anyway, Alex Crumby explores the growing concern about the social and environmental impacts of fast fashion clothing industry and sets out what's wrong with fast fashion. Fast fashion is fast in a number of senses. The changes in fashion are fast. The rate of production is fast. The customer's decision to purchase is fast. Delivery is fast, and garments are worn fast, usually only a few times before being discarded. The rise of fast fashion has had devastating consequences from its reliance on plastic fabrics and its enormous carbon footprint to its erosion of workers' rights. So this article is trying to explain what they mean when we say fast fashion and why it's so bad for people and the planet. So what is fast fashion? In the last few decades, we have seen fashion trends changing more and more quickly. Pressures on workers to produce more at a lower prices have grown alongside pressures on consumers to turn to the newest trends. Fast changing trends. At its heart, the fast fashion business model relies on consumers endlessly buying more clothes. Brands tempt consumers by offering ultra cheap garments. For example, misguided, and this is I would imagine this is a European piece because the money is in liras. Misguided bikini and ever-changing new ranges. At the time of this writing, fast fashion brand Shein featured 21,139 clothes under the new section of its website. So fashion brands have long used new styles and lower prices to attract customers, but previously brands would plan new ranges many months, even years in advance. The pace of change was relatively slow and there was fewer products on offer. In comparison, fast fashion is focused on responding to ever-changing consumer tastes as quickly as possible. So you take celebrity influencers, what's hot, and you want to get it out to the public rather quickly, because they want, when they see Taylor Swift in something or Beyonce in something or whoever the influencers are, they see them out on the red carpet or in the streets, they want that look. So, for example, in the BBC's Breaking Fashion show, we see Manchester-based fast fashion company In the Style reproducing a bodysuit worn by Kylie Jenner. And the company manages to have the piece designed, manufactured, and on sale within 10 days of the piece first being worn publicly by the celebrity. That's my point. So if you see it on one of the Kardashians or the Jenner or whoever the hell is out there wearing stuff that, you know, this got to be youth driven, because I whatever Kylie Jenner is wearing, Babz Rawls-Ivy is not wearing. No shade to Kylie Jenner, but I'm 40 years older than her or some old mess. And first of all, nothing she is wearing is going to appeal to me unless it's jewelry. Anyway, no shade to her. The rise of fast fashion is intertwined with social media and celebrity influencer culture. That's exactly what I just said. A celebrity posts a photo wearing a new outfit and their followers want it. So fast fashion brands rush to be the first to provide. Fast fashion brands often target young people. That's what I said, so-called Gen Zs, who have been brought up amongst social media and influencer culture. So in fact, a recent survey found that almost 73% of 18 to 24-year-olds believe influencers can be held somewhat accountable for the rise in disposable fashion. Oh, hell yes. You don't want it until you see somebody else in it. So, of course, the flow of casualty is not that simple. Fast fashion brands are not simply reacting to consumer demand, they are creating it. Can you imagine? But the essential point of these brands operate on the basis of constantly of clothes to meet the insatiable and ever-changing consumer demand for all things new. Fast production. So faster changing trends means that producers are under pressure to manufacture clothes more and more rapidly. Factories are expected to produce new lines with only a couple of months' notice, meaning that their workload and therefore the amount of employment they can offer to workers is unpredictable and insecure. The drive to produce garments rapidly has led many UK fast fashion companies to reshore clothing production to the UK, where previously almost all clothing brands sourced from less economically developed countries such as Bangladesh or Vietnam. Leicester has become a central hub for clothing production, and many of the scandals associated with workers' rights in the UK have been found in factories in that city. The exploitation of workers in fast fashion supply chains is partly the result of brands pressuring suppliers to produce clothes as cheaply and quickly as possible. They want to make it fast and they want to get it to you fast. The average person in the UK buys 60% more clothing today than in 2000. We buy more clothes per person in the UK than in any other country in Europe. And our addiction has grown, with online searches for cheap clothes increasing 46.3% during the first coronavirus lockdown. So even if you are out of pocket, you can buy items using Klarna, which is layaway, right? Like pay over time, and other easy credit services. Its post-purchase payment options allow you to defer paying for your garments for 14 to 30 days, much like a payday loan. Most companies offer cheap deals for quick delivery. At the time of this writing, which was April 2023, Boho offered unlimited next day delivery for 1 year for just €7.99. Fast use. It's estimated that the average item of clothing is worn just 14 times. And in 2019, The Guardian reported that 1 in 3 young women considered an item worn just once or twice to be old. Much modern clothing is not made to last. Due to super fast production, designs are generally not well stress tested before sale, and cheap synthetic fabrics are used in order to keep costs low. Much of it will end up in landfill after only being worn a handful of times. So 5 things you need to know about fast fashion. The endless creation of new clothes comes with a heavy environmental price. Every year, the sector requires 93 billion cubic meters of water, which is enough to meet the consumption needs of 5 million people. And it's responsible for around 20% of industrial water pollution as a result of textile treatment and dyeing. There are also numerous problems with the materials and processes used. For example, cotton production uses 6% of the world's pesticides and 16% of insecticides. The industry also has a heavy carbon footprint. which is responsible for up to 10% of total global carbon emissions and estimated to increase by 50% by 2030. The above problems affect the clothing sector more broadly, but one issue in particularly endemic to fast fashion is plastic. Oh, ye old plastic. How much plastic do clothes contain? Well, I'm going to tell you. The rise of fast fashion has been heavily dependent on synthetic fibers, such as polyester, nylon, acrylic, and elastane, which are made from heavily processed petrochemicals, fossil fuels. These materials are cheap to produce. Polyester, for example, costs half as much per kilo as cotton, and therefore allow brands to keep prices low, though with a high environmental price tag. Yikes! Polyester is the most widely used of these synthetic fibers and is now found in over half of all textiles produced. It is generally produced from polyethylene terephthalate, better known as PET, a type of plastic derived from crude oil and natural gas, also used to make items such as plastic bottles. The ubiquitousness of plastic in clothing means that the textile sector accounts for 15% of total plastics used. The only sector that uses more are construction and packaging. Many brands are making a song and dance about using recycled plastics for their clothes, but a recent report by the RSA found that the actual level of recycled content was pitifully low. Across 4 major online fast fashion brands, the use of recycled fabrics was a mere 4%. Our analysis of Shein's website found its recycled content was even lower, at only 0.5%. Despite the brand claiming when selected materials, we do our best to source recycled fabric, such as recycled polyester. Recycling plastics where possible has some benefits, but it does nothing to address the problem of microfibers, the minuscule bits of fabric that are released when clothes are worn, washed, or disposed of, that find their way into our bodies and the natural world. So I saw a thing on the news where it talks about, if we get tested, you'll see so much microfibers in our bodies, from the water bottles that we use, from the clothes that we wear, to the stuff that is polluting the air. Microfibers. So according to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, clothes release 500,000 tons of microfibers into the ocean every year. That's equivalent to more than 50 billion plastic bottles. Oh, we are not good stewards of the earth. I don't care what we say. So you can recycle all you want, but if they're not using the materials that we're recycling, what are we even doing? These fibers have been found almost everywhere, from the summit of Mount Everest to the placentas of unborn babies. I bet you the GOP ain't talking about how we could clean placentas of babies that come into the earth. Okay, so we still don't know the effects that they may have. No, because this is a recent phenomenon. So it's going to take a generation before we figure out that this stuff is the cause of this, that, and the other thing. How much waste does the clothing industry cause? Well, the industry is also responsible for enormous amounts of textile waste. The amount of textiles being produced globally per person has more than doubled, from 5.9 kilograms to 13 kilograms over the period of 1975 to 2018. Many of the clothes brought are thrown away after being worn just a handful of times. The industry produces an estimated 92 million tons of textiles waste annually. The only time I throw away clothes is when they're like worn. Like I can't, they're beyond repair. Like I can't put a patch on it. I can't sew it. It's just torn. Some of this waste consists of items that have never even reached the consumer. Clothing lines that have become outdated and so are destroyed instead of sold. There's a picture of a landfill. I don't even know how. I don't even know if you could see that. I don't know if you could see it, but that's clothes. Those are clothes. That's like clothes. Oh my God, that is crazy, 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 crazy. So that's and that's an image from the AFP. So that's a Atacama clothing mountain. Yikes. So why is it bad for workers? Well, let me give you this little bit. In order to offer clothes at ultra low prices, fast fashion brands need their costs to be low. And one of the main ways of doing this is to drive down the wages of garment workers in the supply chain. Ain't that some ish? For years, brands have chased the cheap needle, quote unquote, around the world, seeking countries with the lowest labor standards so that the garment workers can be easily exploited. And people don't understand why we fight so vehemently and passionately for organized labor, for collective bargaining, for unions. Do you understand why we fight for unions so vehemently and passionately? For this kind of thinking, chasing the cheap needle around the world, seeking countries with the lowest labor standards so that garment workers can be easily exploited. That means old people, children, pregnant women, all kinds of people, the illiterate, the infirm people are working in these places for pennies. In recent years, many UK fast fashion brands have found the cheap needle closer to home. So this is what they were talking about, that they find it cheaper to exploit their own people. So boho has become somewhat the symbol of fast fashion's worker exploitation problem. So numerous exposés have shown that while the pockets of boho's directors are bursting at the seams, meaning they're getting paid, baby, getting paid, the people who actually stitch the seams of its clothing are paid a pittance, with some found to have been paid under half the minimum wage. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then the violence on the factory floor cannot be dismissed as just a factory level problem. Rather, it must be understood as an industry-wide culture of violence driven by the business model of global fashion brands. Can you imagine? So now not only are you not paying people, but they got to deal with harm. They got to deal with allegations of unacceptable working conditions and underpayment of workers. And they're not just well-founded, but they are substantially true. This is what's happening. Oh my God. So there was a 2022 report, Unbearable Harassment, the Fashion Industry and Widespread Abuse of Female Garment Workers in Indian Factories, found that every single woman spoken to for the report, 90 of them had either experienced or witnessed gender-based violence and harassment carried out by male supervisors and managers at factories they worked in. So verbal, physical, and sexual harassment exists in every garment factory. Not the one they just covered. It existed before COVID, it exists during COVID, and it will exist after COVID. Gosh. All right. So in April 2023, these are the leading fast fashion brands: boho, And Boho owns Burton, Coast, Debenhams, Dorothy Perkins, Karen Millen, Miss Pap, Nasty Gal, Oasis, Pretty Little Thing, Wallace, Warehouse, and Forever 21, In the Style, I Saw It First, Misguided, Sheen, Quiz. So if a brand is offering vast numbers of new in-clothes, usually thousands of new items every day, and its products are super cheap, then it's a fast fashion brand. Wow. So I'm bringing this up because I see it all over social media, this fashion stuff. And I must say, I'm tempted too. I see it and I was like, oh, that's a great dress. I want that dress for $18 or $1.97 or whatever the hell it is, or something, I see it. I was like, oh, and then what I have started, and I haven't bought anything. I go and look up that company, and I look at the reviews. I go look for the reviews and what do people say, and a lot of the reviews, people like, oh, I love getting it, blah, blah, blah. But there are people who are like, I found out that this was made by slave labor and I can't in good conscience keep it. Or I found out, or I didn't get it, or it came and it was shoddily made, all that kind of stuff. But I go and I look, because I once you know this, you just can't ignore it. You just can't. I can't. I don't know about you. You probably could ignore it, but I can't ignore it. So, and it's been a while since I bought anything. I tend to I keep clothes, so what goes around comes around. So what should you do? Well, buy consciously and look for ethical brands. Buy secondhand or repair what you already have. Join a fast fashion campaign, such as Fashion Revolution or Clean Clothes campaign. Follow the 10 tips to ditch fast fashion. And maybe most importantly, buy less clothing. So that was my piece on fast fashion today. It's been on my mind. And I don't know. I mean, I want people to I want people to shop ethically. We just cannot be buying couture for $20. I mean, it's just, because if you do that, you got to know that some child or some woman or some elderly person is hunched over a sewing machine being hassled to be faster for damn near no pay. So you have to let that live inside your brain as you look at these cheap clothes and you go, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. Seriously, you have to be thinking that way, And if somebody's listening to me today about fast fashion, I hope I gave you enough information about it. I feel like I wanted to learn about this. I wasn't entirely sure what was happening. I had a sense, but I wasn't sure because, like I said, when you go to these sites, when they pop up in and watch, when I go to my Facebook page, because I've been talking about this for 20 minutes, it's gonna because your phone listens to you. And it's the algorithms are already starting to turn, but I'm plus size, so no. We're gonna have a problem. We just have problems. So if you could live with it, then that's on you. But if you're like me, I see things that are too good to be true, and I'm like, oh, that's really, really nice. I'm like, oh, it's $13.97, huh? But just know it's plastic, it's synthetic, it's cheap, and you're paying for slavery. You're paying for slavery. You're paying for slavery. So just know that. So yeah. Sometimes if Kylie Jenner is wearing something, don't go and buy a knockoff. I know this is going to be hard because people are not listening. They want whatever, they want to be out there and they want to live the life of influencers. And I get it. I see the clothes too. I see them, but I can't in good conscience do it because I'm thinking, do I have to be worried about some child sitting at a machine being held hostage to sew some damn clothing for cheap so I could be stylish? I'm already stylish. So anyway, I just brought that up to you. My sister just sent me a message at the New York Times. Wesleyan University ends legacy admissions. You can't beat them, join them. Because legacy admissions, what is it, 64% of all admissions? Now your little dumbass kids gonna have to get in like everybody else. I don't care if your name is on the building. Get them a tutor now, so they can at least get in, pass some exams. Tutoring gonna go up exponentially now. All these little kids who feel privileged turn up their noses for affirmative action, but they're on the same card, just on the flip side. All right. Okay. Legacy. and I got friends whose kids go to the universities and colleges that they work at, that they went to. Listen, there's a lot of that. A lot. So go ahead, Wesleyan. And Wesleyan is an Ivy League school. So so what percentage is legacy admissions? What percentage is legacy admissions? So I'll talk more about that tomorrow, I guess, because now it's gonna make the news. Everybody's gonna be talking about it, and everybody's gonna follow suit, or the ones that are not cowardly. So currently, the Ivy League institutions are estimated to admit 10 to 15% of each entering class using legacy admissions. Okay. 14% of 2022's admitted USC students have family ties to alumni or donors. 10 to 25% are legacy students. Huh. Okay. So it's estimated where anywhere between 25 and 35% of admitted students at Ivy League schools come from a family with a legacy status. So the more I read, the higher it gets. And they were talking about this in 2022 and why schools won't give up their legacy. But now that the Supreme Court and their shenanigans, now these schools have to act courageously. So we'll see. So anyway, it's Wednesday. Enjoy the middle of the week. Get out there and enjoy the day. Enjoy your, don't just work 8 hours. Enjoy the work that you're doing. Get out there, see the world, and be nice. And throw your stuff away and recycle. I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, Harry.
Hi, this is Babz Rawls-Ivy in New Haven, Connecticut, and you're listening to WNHHLP 103.5 FM, streaming live